This module is called Logging is Critical. Let's start with a definition of network time protocol. It's a common time reference that is essential to allow the correlation of logs from multiple sources. So NTP, Network Time Protocol, it really is a protocol. It synchronizes all the connected system clocks. It's available on almost all devices, and it's available for free. So NTP has 15 strata, and each strata is a reflection of how many hops away it is from the stratum 0 reference clock that we'll talk about here in a moment. Stratum 16 is unsynchronized, meaning that they're not using NTP, the NTP protocol. So timing is everything. The stratum 0 reference clocks that I talked about a moment ago is really an atomic clock. It calculates time by measuring the microwave signals emitted by electrons as they change energy levels around the cesium atoms, which have been cooled to a near absolute zero temperature. That's a lot of physics. What you really need to know is that these clocks will not gain or lose a single second within 138 million years. There's a couple of pictures of two locations of atomic clocks, one in Boulder, Colorado, and another one, both of them in Boulder, Colorado, but one is with the U.S. Naval Observatory, and the other one is with an organization called NIST. Syslogs are important. Syslog is standardized for system and application logging by the Internet Engineering Task Force, IETF, under RFC 5424. It establishes facility levels to identify the application that's generating the log entry, and also establishes severity levels to identify the importance and contents of the log entry. The important thing is that you should confirm that all your vendors include complete documentation and definitions of all the log messages and their system that the system application generates, including keywords and definitions. Log servers, another important concept here is called the central log repository. Just as the name implies, it's a central place for keeping all the logs. Enables system applications analysis and auditing by collecting the logs of multiple systems and applications in a single location. Now, single is a bit misleading here. We don't mean one single server, because obviously you want to keep your log servers in some kind of clustered arrangement so that if one fails, the other takes over and no logs are lost, such as using application high availability that we talked about in a previous module. So it separates the software and the hardware that stores the logs from the software and hardware that generates them. It's an extra layer of security to ensure that you've got the logs and can maintain the logs. Log servers are also important for intelligent analysis and reporting. Allows you to bring cross-system and cross-application reviews, allows you to do comparison and assessment of logs. We can pull these very quickly from a central log repository, and they are very detailed. They easily identify the trends, the problems. We can do correlation and help to build intelligence and forecasting even future behaviors. So detailed reporting of events from a single location instead of pulling logs from numerous sources and manually evaluating them, which is very time and labor intensive, sometimes even impossible to do. Log retention is also important. Asking the question, how long do you keep the logs? The answer is really it depends. What is the source of the logs? How critical is the system? Where was the system located? What are the legal and regulatory requirements? Because logs at the end of the day are evidence. And probably the most important thing to answer the question of how long do you keep it is, what does your policy say? So your policy should be established, and you should keep your logs for exactly as the policy requires, not less and not more. Non-repudiation is another important concept in logs. Repudiation means refute. Refute means to deny. So non-repudiation means that it cannot be denied. So it's the ability to prove authenticity when it is refuted. So it has significant importance in the world of information security, in criminal and civil law, and certainly in computer forensics. So here's a little scenario. A group of employees in your business are known to cause trouble. And recently someone within that group sent a very insulting email to the general manager of the company. The individuals claim that they never wrote the email, even though it came from one of their accounts. So how can you actually establish the authenticity that email actually came from that computer that that was suspect? The answer is by having the logs. And non-repudiation is the means by which that's achieved. So in summary, logs are generated not from just about, well, are generated from just about everything inside of the network. You should have a policy on retention. It should be focused on the law and on regulations, and you should follow that policy to the letter, exactly. Keep the logs for as long as it says, not more and not less. It could also be used for troubleshooting problems, for security and to comply with the law, obviously, as we've been talking about. And the truth is that you cannot pass an audit with poor log maintenance. So follow the best practices for log maintenance.